Tobacco Day. Here RISA stands up, and here we are to celebrate No Tobacco. A warm welcome to the chief guest, Mr. Chandramohan Babu, Dr. Baradan, Dr. Abdulaziz, Dr. Naseem Qureshi, Mr. Karnakaran Pillai, and all the dignitaries, principal academics, Mrs. Meera Merahman, IASR, Sangeeta Anup, all the other dignitaries who are with us. Let's begin this program. And for the rest of the things, before we begin with the proceedings, I would like to take a few moments in which we RISA would like to pay our tribute to Dr. Rahmatullah, who has been a backbone and a pillar of support to all of us. He was a victim of COVID at a very young age. But as far as he is concerned, I can only say that it is not the number of years that you live. It is what you contribute in a short span of time. And that holds good for Dr. Rahmatullah. As a mark of respect, let's have a 1 minute silence for him. Thank you. And now we begin meetings. I would not like to waste much time and get into action. I would now like to welcome on stage, just a minute, sir. I've got some technical. Sorry about that. Before we begin, I would like to thank each one of you present here. And as we begin the program, I would like to call upon Dr. Baradan, who has been a pillar of strength for RISA, for the welcome address. Dr. Baradan.
Dear participants, it is a matter of great pleasure and relief that even during this most difficult time of COVID pandemic, RIA, the Initiative Against Substance Abuse, that is RISA, would conduct a get-together on online like this. As all of you know, for so many decades, WHO is observing 31st May as World No Tobacco Day. The theme for this year is Commit Quit. WHO is hinting to quit all forms of substance abuse. We, the team RISA, is today specifically pointing to avoid all forms of tobacco, and hence the theme for today is Commit to Quit Tobacco. In Malayalam, ഉറപ്പാണ് പുകയില ഉപേക്ഷിക്കാം. Today's program is inaugurated by a very distinguished personality, that is Dr. P. Chandra Mohan, Dean of Kogulam Medical College, Trivandrum. He is also former Director of Medical Education in Kerala State and also the former Vice Chancellor of Kannur and Yenapai Universities. On behalf of Team RISA and all of you, I extend a very warm welcome to you, sir. Today we have 5 teenagers with us who have won the Subair Kunj Foundation Scholarship last year. They will be speaking on various aspects of tobacco use and its hazards. We are very happy to be blessed with their presence today, and we are really motivated also. Each of them will be introduced separately in due course. On behalf of Team RISA, I extend a very warm welcome to all of them. 3 prominent personalities from RISA team: beloved chairman of Subair Kunj Foundation and convener of RISA, Dr. Abdul Aziz, well-known pediatrician Dr. Thambi Velapan, and renowned psychiatrist Dr. Naseem Akhtar Qureshi are with us to present various topics related with tobacco and smoking. I formally welcome all of them to this session. Also, I cordially welcome all the participants of this session on online, all with the invited guests, and all the members of Team RISA. Before concluding, I have a particular request to all the teenagers who are attending this program. All of us are confined to our homes for a long time due to the COVID pandemic. It appears as though this situation is likely to continue for some more time. Some of your parents or relatives staying with you at homes may be habituated or addicted to some form of substance abuse. You can try this occasion positively to counsel and motivate them to stay back from this menace. Please remember that persistent and untiring effort will definitely yield a positive result, however small it may be. Hope all of you will have a nice time and experience with this session. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, Dr. Bharathan. Now we come to Dr. Abdul Aziz.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Sir,
Hello?
Yes, you are all audible.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and a warm welcome to this RISA program. This time, we are blessed with the presence of Dr. Chandra Mohan, the Dean of Kogulam Medical College and the previous Vice Chancellor of Kannur, and also Yenapai University, and he was the former DME of Kerala. So it's our pleasure to have this gathering once again for the World No Tobacco Day observation. It's the second time we are in online such a meeting. Just after the COVID pandemic only most of our program became online. Anyway, as I told in previous sessions, previously we could have addressed maybe hundreds or maybe even thousands of students together face to face. But this time, and of course for the last time, we have reached more than hundreds of thousands of students in many parts of Middle East and as well as in Kerala and in some pockets of other countries also. Since the beginning of the campaign in 2012, we got many privileges. Actually, we have conducted more than 95 programs so far and near reaching our 100th program shortly. And in the past 1 year, the most important milestone in our activity is the recognition by the United Nations UNODC marketplace membership. The last year, we also got membership in that UN database as well. So we have that privilege. And when you think back to our previous experience, we have something to have happiness. We had something gained in our school activities, in our labor camp activities, in our polyclinic activities, community-based activities, as well as in activities with several other social organizations. On this occasion of World No Tobacco Day, we accepted the theme, commit to quit tobacco, simply related to the WHO theme, commit to quit. There is a suggestion from our team members in Malayalam. We convey the message as Urapikam Covidine Ubishikam Pugavali enna theme Malayalamil nammal സ്വീകരിച്ചു. During this pandemic situation, it's not that happy. Many of our colleagues suffered from COVID. We lost our beloved principal, Dr. K. Rahmatullah, to whom the program is dedicated today. And he was a very enthusiastic and very supportive person as far as the RISA activity is concerned. We have even trained more than 400 students from the Al Yasmin International School, Riyadh, and also more than 150 trained teachers there. Our TOT program and our school health club is working in Al Yasmin also. We began our program of training in International Indian School, Riyadh. We have so much support from the International Indian Schools. We have very much support from the previous and also the present ambassador of India. We are thankful to Mr. Ahmad Javed, the previous ambassador of India to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and also the same quantum, I should say, thanks to Dr. Ausaf Said, who has even given permission that he will open the embassy hall for RISA activities in the future time once the COVID situation improves. So we have so much support from the social media, so much support from the social leaders in Saudi Arabia as well as in other Middle East countries. We have so much help and assistance from many talented personalities from different parts of the world in the conduct of Sovereign Foundation's prestigious campaign against substance abuse. During this time, it's our privilege and our duty to convey the message to stop the spread of COVID also. Last time, you all know, we conducted a pledge against COVID along with the pledge against substance abuse in the last June 26th World No Drug Day period. So we continued the campaign as we can combat drug abuse and substance abuse, drug abuse and prevention of COVID together. We did a lot of classes. We started a page on COVID-19 in our website in Subair Kunj Foundation. RISA, the difference between other organization and RISA is that we never accept any contribution from anywhere, apart from some contribution for the preparation and release of our RISA training module. I'm putting it short because of the time constraint. I would like to thank all of you and welcome our honorable guest to inaugurate the function. Let us move ahead. Let us let us continue our way. Velichathilekku oru disha in Malayalam. A way to lighting the youngsters, especially the teenagers, to keep them away from the menace of substance abuse and addiction. Thank you all. Thank you very much for all your listening me. And I am once again thanking all the guests present here, all the principals, all the famous figures from different sectors, and our chief guest and my colleagues, and of course the supporting students. One thing I would like to add is I have to be especially thankful to the students and youngsters who won the Subair Memorial Award last time, and we are honoring them to present on different aspects of substance abuse in this venue. This is the first time we are honoring them in such a way, and also we expect their continuing support and action on this campaign. So thank you very much. Let us proceed with the function today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abdulaziz. Now we come to the inaugural function, and we have to be ever grateful and thankful to Dr. Chandramohan, who has been a pillar of strength and who has wholeheartedly accepted our invitation and agreed to be inaugurating this function. Sir, Chandramohan happens to be the Dean of Gokulam Medical College, and most of us have given his profile in a very beautiful way. But my way of thanking him is that just in a short span of time, I mean, not within minutes, he had accepted our invitation, and for this good cause, he has agreed to be the chief guest. Thank you, sir, for being with us, and I would request you to kindly do the honors of inaugurating this function.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, very much.
Yes. Now, Dr. Abdulaziz, Dr. Thambi, Elephant, Dr. Nasim Qureshi, all other most distinguished participants, Dr. Bharadan. Before I start my speech, I will pay my tributes to the departed soul of Dr. Rahmatullah. I do not know him personally, but from what I heard from Dr. Abdulaziz, he had made phenomenal contributions to your school. Let me pray for his soul to rest in peace in the kingdom of God. Now, first of all, I must congratulate the office bearers of RISA for their committed activities against substance abuse, including tobacco habituation. Now, I must also congratulate the winners of Subair Kunj Foundation Awards. Now, I'll start with the history of tobacco abuse. Today is the No Tobacco World, No Tobacco Day. So before coming to the No Tobacco Day, let us go to the history of tobacco. Actually, the history of tobacco abuse or even the substance abuse is the history of mankind itself. It is as old as the history of human civilizations. Among the various ancient civilizations, I think we see the Mayans in the Central America and South America. They knew about this tobacco and they used the leaves and bark of tobacco for smoking. And it has been documented that they knew that they had a pleasurable feeling after this smoking. And so smoking became very popular even during those days. And according to them, it was a divine feeling that they got after the smoking. And this tobacco became an integral part of all the sacred functions, all the religious functions. So that was the status of tobacco during those days. In fact, Columbus, when he landed in one of the Bahamas islands, on his way to find out the sea route to India, he landed there. He saw the aborigines smoking with this tobacco leaf. He didn't know it was tobacco, but he saw these aborigines using, at that time there was no cultivation of tobacco in Bahamas. It was a wild plant and the leaf was used for smoking. Not only leaf, bark also they used for smoking. And Columbus and his team collected some tobacco plants and they took it back to Spain. And that is how tobacco came to Europe. From Spain, tobacco went to all the European countries, and that was the time of colonization. They took it to all the colonies. So that is how the use of tobacco became universal. And this went on for decades together. See, this tobacco industry and the lobby was very influential during those days. And in course of time, people started understanding the complications, the hazards of smoking. See, to understand the hazards of smoking, we should know the ingredients of tobacco. When you look into the ingredients of tobacco, as on today we know, there are around 7,000 chemicals as components of tobacco. And of these 7,000 components, the most important one all of us know is the nicotine. But when it comes to the other components, out of these 7,000 chemicals, 70 chemicals are real carcinogens, producing cancer in different locations of the body. Now, if you look into the action of these ingredients on the body, you will know that tobacco smoking can result in heart attack. How does tobacco produces heart attack? So we know when you take the major cause today, number one cause of death, number one killer in this world is coronary artery disease or heart attack. This heart attack can be produced by tobacco smoking. Tobacco contains the nicotine. Nicotine is in our body, we have different organ systems. Some of the organ systems we consider as the VVIPs of the human body. The central nervous system is a VVIP. Same is with the case of the cardiovascular system. Now, the smoking hits both the cardiovascular system and the central nervous system. How does it affect the central nervous system? The nicotine produces a substance called dopamine. I told you the aborigines of Central America, South America, Bahamas Islands, they found that after smoking, they get a pleasurable feeling. They get a divine feeling. This divine feeling is actually artificially produced by this dopamine produced in the brain by this nicotine. And another thing, say, cardiovascular system is also affected by nicotine. Cardiovascular system, see, normally when we are sitting, say, just like this, when we are sitting at ease, or when you are sleeping, you need only 5 liters of blood circulating in your body. What is the main function of the cardiovascular system? Cardiovascular system, Aristotle said, it is the center of your emotions. But we know it is not the center of the emotions. It is somewhere in the brain. Heart is functioning as a pump. It is pumping, it is the center propelling force for the transport system of the body. What does it actually do? It carries the raw materials for each cell to survive, raw materials for the cells to produce energy for its own survival. So it carries, what are the raw materials? Raw materials are the fuels. For producing energy, you need to burn the fuel. In the car, to produce energy, you burn the petrol or diesel. To cook food, you burn the wood blocks. So a fuel is required, and for burning, oxygen is also required. The fuel comes from a gastrointestinal tract, and these, in the form of glucose, it is carried through the blood to each and every cell. And to burn the glucose, our fuel, we need oxygen. Oxygen is to be carried from the lungs to each and every cell. Glucose and oxygen alone will not serve the purpose. You need hormones. You need certain enzymes. All these things are carried from the sources of origin to each and every cell, which is the target. So the cardiovascular system is actually functioning like a transport system. Now, after the metabolism is over, after the energy production is over, after the protein manufacturing is over, the cell requires a repair and reconstruction. For these things, amino acids are required. So after all these things, waste products will be produced. Metabolism results in the production of waste products. And these waste products are also transported by the vascular system to the organs of excretion, to the excretory organs, to the kidneys, to the skin, to the lungs. Carbon dioxide is taken to the lungs. So that is the cardiovascular system. For normal function of the cardiovascular system, you need 5 liters of blood circulating in your body. But this 5 liters of blood will not be enough when you face a stressful situation. So suppose you are visiting a friend's house. A dog, a ferocious dog, a Doberman is coming against you. You have to take a decision there, whether to fight with the Doberman or to run away from the Doberman. If you decide to fight, or if you decide to go for flight, In either case, you need more energy. To give you more energy, you have to transport more fuel. You have to transport more oxygen. And more blood is required for each and every cell, for your muscle cells. You need more blood, more energy. For production of more energy, you need more blood to come to each and every cell during stressful situation. And your heart will be beating faster and more forcefully to pump more blood to the cells for action. So you are under stress. You need to do something. For that you need energy. And for additional energy, additional raw materials are required, additional hormones are required. So all these things have to be transported. So the heart starts beating faster and more forcefully. You need more oxygen. So your number of breaths will be more than what is normally there. So whereas so at that time, if you take the blood volume, in the place of 5 liters, the volume will go up. It can go up to 25 liters. So at moments of necessity, when you are under stress, when you have to fight against an enemy, or when you have to run away from an attacking snake, you need more energy, and your blood volume can increase from 5 liters up to a maximum of 25 liters. But your blood vessels do not break. It will not burst out. So the important feature of our vascular system is its elasticity, its ability to contain 5 times the volume that flows through the tubes in the basal condition. This elasticity is lost in a smoker. Your tobacco, your nicotine makes the elastic system of blood vessels, converts the elastic system of blood vessels into a rigid system of tubes, offering resistance to flow. And this increased resistance to flow makes your heart work more hard. So it is an additional load to the heart. So a smoker, the flow through the blood vessel will be less. It will be less in the case of coronary vessels also. Coronary vessels are the vessels supplying the heart. So when there is a reduced supply through the coronary vessels, when there is a slow flow of blood through the blood vessel, there can be clots occurring there, blocks in the coronary arteries, resulting in what we call as the coronary artery disease or heart attack. So that is why I said a smoker can get heart attack. Not only heart attack. See, when we talk about the cardiovascular system and the heart diseases, the first one we have to mention is the coronary artery disease or the heart attack. The second one is hypertension, increased blood pressure. Increased blood pressure is also very commonly seen in smokers. So a smoker must know that he is a candidate to develop hypertension or increased blood pressure, and he is a candidate to have heart attack in future. Now, this is regarding the cardiovascular system. That is not the only system. You come to the peripheral vascular system. Peripheral vascular system also loses its elasticity. Peripheral blood vessels also will become rigid tubes. And this starts actually the hypertension or increased blood pressure, coronary artery disease. These things occur only after 35, 40 years. Whereas involvement in the peripheral vascular system, that starts earlier. Very young boys, You see, as surgeons, when we take rounds in the wards, we had seen a corner where youngsters will be there with ulcers on the tip of their toes. We call that condition as thromboangiitis obliterans. This disease is very commonly seen in Kerala, where beedi smoking is very common. So this happens again because of the use of tobacco, the abuse of tobacco. So cardiovascular system, I told you three things. Number one, say we know people are presenting on the cancers, on certain other topics here. So those things I am not going to touch at all. So I thought I will confine myself to the hazards of nicotine alone. So as far as nicotine is concerned, it's more the action is more on the cardiovascular system. Now, when we go to the other ingredients of tobacco, the most important thing is the carcinogens. The carcinogens, or pediatrician, I know he'll be talking in detail. Then what else is there apart from cancer? Then it is some of these chemicals can act as inflammatory mediators. It produces bronchitis, bronchiolitis, chronic bronchitis, results in smokers' cough. Usually, as smokers, they will be coughing. Wherever they go, they will be coughing. Especially in the context of COVID, we know a smoker is more likely to have the hazards of involvement in the respiratory system. We know the coronavirus is a respiratory virus, mainly a respiratory virus. Any virus infection can produce inflammatory reaction in any organ system. We know the cytokine storm, which results in the production of interleukins, different types of interleukins. So all this, so in the context of COVID, we must know more about the involvement of the respiratory system in smokers. The most common problem is the chronic bronchitis. Chronic bronchitis, if it is not dealt with on time, it will lead to chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD, which is very common in Kerala. Chronic obstructive disease presenting just like asthma. So these are the actions of nicotine and aromatic hydrocarbons in different organ systems. Then carcinogens, you know, the oral cancer, carcinoma of the respiratory tract, bronchogenic carcinoma, carcinoma of the larynx, carcinoma of the pharynx, carcinoma of the lips, carcinoma of the cheek, carcinoma of the tongue. So if you take cancer, all these cancers are mainly produced by these carcinogens, especially tobacco carcinogens in tobacco. The carcinogens in tobacco can also result in cancer of the colon, cancer of the testes. So all these things are possible as a result of smoking, as a result of use of tobacco in the form of for chewing or snuff. Yeah, time is up. So these are the hazards of tobacco smoking. So my urge to the listeners is to propagate this message. Smoking, one good thing which we have all noted is the incidence of smoking. People smoking, its number is coming down now. Say, in olden days, it was considered as a status symbol, but now people have to consider it as a stigma, social stigma. We must also know why do people start smoking? People start smoking because respectable persons are considering it as a status symbol. You know, when we were young, I still remember after all functions, these cigarettes will be given to the guests. And they say the tendency for the children will be to emulate what the elders are doing, especially the people whom they consider as role models. As far as a child is concerned, his best role model is his own father. As far as a student is concerned, his best role model is his teacher. So when a teacher smokes in front of his student, or when a father smokes in front of his child, not only that he is destroying his various systems as complications of smoking, he is actually tempting his child to begin smoking, to start smoking. The teacher is tempting his student to start smoking. And why does he continue? He continues to smoke again, in spite of the fact that more than 90% of the smokers know about the hazards of smoking, still they continue to smoke. Mainly because of the status attributed to smoking, and the most important thing is the habituation and addiction that they fall into. Addiction is the main reason why they do not abstain from smoke. And as for our No Tobacco Day, this is the reason why in 1987, WHO convened a meeting, the World Health Assembly. The World Health Assembly was convened in 1987, and the first one was the World No Smoking Day. WHO called upon the smokers all over the world to abstain from smoking for 24 hours. It was a great success. The second decision taken on the next year was this, our No Tobacco Day. They became wiser. They understood smoking is not the only vice. With the tobacco can be used for chewing. Tobacco can be used as snuff. It is inhaled, it is aspirated actually into the larynx, into the trachea, into the bronchi, into the alveoli, damaging all these structures. So they found out a particular day to be celebrated, to be observed annually on an annual basis, to propagate the hazards of smoking, to create awareness among the public all over the world. So please continue your campaign against this menace of tobacco, smoking, chewing, inhaling in the form of snuff, all tobacco use altogether. So once again, let me congratulate the RISA and its office bearers for continuing the effort against this substance abuse. So thank you very much for inviting me. With these words, I declare today's session on this No Tobacco Day inaugurated. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. So vividly, you explained from the history of tobacco to the present day situation, and sure, and we promise that we'll propagate your message, and as we have been doing so far, and see that maximum number of students or in the community are benefited. Thank you, Doctor. Now we come. RISA has always been here to propagate against tobacco or drug abuse and all this. So there was an initiative taken by them last year during this pandemic situation. We had this virtual sort of competition wherein the elocution competitions were held, and the children had to speak on hazards of smoking and also drug abuse. Now here we have gone a step forward, encouraged them. We have awarded them as the Best Speaker Award, and all. In spite of all this, we have also seen we need somebody to carry on the tradition. And here, Dr. Abdul Aziz has done the right thing by calling upon them to be torchbearers and spread the message to the world. So the person who is going to do this on the hazards of chemical in tobacco products is Rupashri Pamidipati. She is going to give you a presentation on the hazardous chemicals in tobacco products.
Ecstasy, euphoria, happiness, pain relief, relaxation, and whatnot. These are some of the feelings tobacco has. This is what a drug addict tells you. You should know better than listen to them because experts say it contains death. Greetings, one and all. I'm Rupashri, studying in Alyas International School, and here I am spreading awareness about the harmful substances in a tobacco product. The tobacco epidemic is one of the biggest public health crises the world has ever faced. Why? Because unfortunately, as I'm talking to you, about 600 youth are persuaded to smoke their first ever cigarette. 200 youth are smoking right now, and over 9 out of 10 adults are highly addicted to tobacco. Tobacco is killing more than 8 million people every year. COVID crisis is nothing compared to it. More than 7 million people of this death are result of direct tobacco use, while about 142 million are the results of non-smokers being exposed to second-hand smoking. So what does this tobacco have that it is this lethal? Well, before we know this, let us know about some common tobacco products. To begin with, cigarette smoking is one of the most common form of tobacco use. Others include water pipe tobacco, cigars, e-cigarettes, etc. Then there are the smokeless tobacco like BDs, crickets, snuff, and dip, which are highly addictive and damaging to health as they contain cancer-causing toxins. Cigarettes, cigars, and pipe tobacco are made from dried tobacco leaves. Other substances are added for flavor and to make smoking more pleasant. Tobacco smoke is made up of thousands of chemicals, including at least 70 known to cause cancer. Some of the chemicals found in tobacco are nicotine, which is a poison used in pesticides, and it is the addictive drug that produces the effects in the brain that people are looking for. Second is hydrogen cyanide, which was once used to kill people in gas chambers found in cigarette smoke. Then carbon monoxide present in car exhaust, which is lethal in large amounts. Then arsenic, which is found in rat poison. Then ammonia compounds, which is used in cleaning products and fertilizers. Then radioactive elements like polonium and metals like lead. Then benzene, which is found in gasoline and is present in high amounts in tobacco smoke. Then the last is formaldehyde, which is a chemical, which is a liquid used to preserve dead bodies and is responsible for some of the nose, throat, and eye irritation that smokers and people who are exposed to the smoke face. Then there are these e-cigarettes. Makers of e-cigarettes often claim that these ingredients are safe, but the aerosols that these products produce contain addictive nicotine, flavors, and a variety of other chemicals in very large amounts, and some of them are toxic or to cause cancer. So how can we prevent from consuming or urging others to consume tobacco? Well, to begin with, being motivated to quit is the very first step. And additionally, let's all take an oath on this World No Tobacco Day to not smoke or use any tobacco products from now on and encourage people who smoke to quit it and support them in their battle against tobacco addiction. At conclusion, I would like to recite, since the time tobacco was fumed, many lives have been consumed. Let's adopt healthy ways to have cheerful and happy days. From tobacco, if all stay away, We have merry and happy play. It's not just a say, but it's for everyone to have a smile today. Thank you and have a very nice day.
Thank you, Rupashri. Indeed beautiful. Next, we have uh, are e-cigarettes safe? And for that, Ms. Anjali Salif will be presenting it. Ms. Anjali.
Napoleon Bonaparte had rightly said, "Courage isn't having the strength to go on, it is going on when you don't have the strength." A pleasant day to one and all. Today I would like to share a few words on the topic. Are e-cigarettes harmful or not? And I would definitely say it is a yes. What are e-cigarettes and how are they different from the usual cigarettes? Well, an e-cigarette is an electronic device that stimulates tobacco smoking. It consists of an atomizer, a power source such as a battery, and a container such as a cartridge or a tank. Instead of smoke, the user inhales vapor, and hence it is also called as vaping. Now, how does an e-cigarette work? E-cigarettes produce an aerosol by heating liquid that contains nicotine, which is an addictive drug that is used in regular cigarettes, cigars, and so on. Flavorings and other chemicals are also used in making the aerosol. Users inhale this aerosol into their lungs, and this not only affects them but also the bystanders who inhale this. And as we all know, aerosol is a pollutant that can cause damage to even the ozone layer. And hence you can imagine the extent to which this aerosol can cause damage to the human body. There are different types of e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes are the most common form of electronic nicotine delivery system, ENDS, and electronic non-nicotine delivery system, ENNDS. But there are other various types such as e-cigars, e-pipes, e-vapes, and so on. ENDS contains various amounts of nicotine and other harmful emissions. Also contains ultrafine particles that when inhaled can go deep into the lungs. Flavorings such as diacetyl, a chemical that is linked to a serious lung disease. Volatile organic compounds, cancer-causing chemicals, heavy metals such as nickel, tin, lead, and so on are used in this. And thus, it is unsafe for everyone, irrespective of their age. So we know how usage of such things by people can even cause harm to the innocent ones. Strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will. We need to be determined and look for ways to tackle this serious issue. Number 1. Preventing initiation of ENDS used by non-smokers and children by preventing or restricting advertising, promotion and sponsorships and restricting flavors that appeal to the children. Number 2. Minimizing as far as possible health risks to ENDS users such as by regulating the product characteristics. Number 3. Protecting non-users from exposure to these emissions such as by prohibiting ENDS use in indoor spaces where smoking is prohibited. Number 4. Preventing unproven health claims. And number 5. Protecting public health policies from commercial and other vested interests. The scientific evidence regarding the effectiveness of ENDS as a smoking cessation aid is still being debated. To date, in part due to the diversity of ENDS products and the low certainty surrounding many studies, the potential for ENDS to play a role as a population-level tobacco cessation intervention is still unclear. To truly help tobacco users quit and to strengthen global tobacco control, governments need to scale up policies and interventions that we know work. Tried and tested interventions such as brief advice from health professionals, national toll-free quit lines, and cessation interventions delivered via mobile text messaging is recommended. Government should consider promoting nicotine replacement therapies and non-nicotine pharmacotherapies for cessation. The World Health Organization regularly monitors and reviews the evidence on ENDS and health and offers guidance to governments. As Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has rightly said, we cannot change our future, but we can change our habits. And surely our habits can change our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjali. Indeed, it was worthwhile. Next, we have the topic is teenage smoking, and we have Akil Fahim Hashim.
There are over a billion people in this world who smoke. That is about the same number of people who use Instagram on a daily basis. 20% of these people are teenagers. 38% of the rest have been smoking since they were teenagers. Now, by seeing the big number, the big question that rises is, why do teenagers smoke and what is the effect that they get out of it? Well, the simple answer is they start smoking because of peer pressure, and they continue to smoke because of social status. And the reason why they do not understand the harmful effects of smoking is because of the effect that it provides in terms of controlling anxiety and stress. For different generations at different point of time, the way and the method of getting introduced to cigarette smoking is different, but the end reason is always the same. For Generation X, long time back, it was about becoming part of society. A society meant that any adult could smoke anywhere, and was also a way of them showing their financial status, as cigarettes were really expensive. For the millennials, it was about becoming cool, as the media and cinema showed that in order to become cool and not to be like their favorite actor, one needed to smoke. And for the current generation, Generation Z, it is about mostly following the social media trends and social media stars and to control the anxiety. With all of these three things, society encouraged them to an extent. For Generation X, it was about becoming an adult. For the millennial, it was about becoming cool. And for the Generation Z, it was about achieving great heights by discouraging and by disregarding the stress and anxiety one faces by smoking. As smoking contains nicotine, and cigarettes, by taking this within 20 seconds, one's bloodstream can receive nicotine. This in turn reaches our brain, and our brain is able to produce hormones that provide us with happiness. And this is the main reason why people within no time becoming addicted to smoking. Because within 20 seconds, one person can gain the same level of energy that a person who after a long time, after building stamina, is able to achieve. But the main problem is, within a short amount of time, one person will need to smoke more than what they used to smoke. And this is the reason why most of the teenagers start becoming really aggressive. It is also a time when one can easily find out when another person is smoking or not, as their body starts degrading. The body loses strength and loses the energy to continue doing something for a given amount of time. This is another case when people start smoking, they get so much energy, and after some time, they need to start smoking even when they start the day. Teenagers are pretty vulnerable to all the things that they see, as it is an age in which they are between the childhood as well as the adulthood. And whatever they receive it wholeheartedly. And so guidance and peer pressure is supposed to be healthy, and it should be given in a proper dosage, as if it's given in an improper manner, it's really harmful to teenagers. And that is the reason why parents need to keep a proper control. Society needs to have new regulations, and it needs to have its brain set in such a manner that it will only encourage good behavior and it discourages smoking and other sorts of harmful activities. As smoking, after some time, a person needs to smoke so much, so they start taking small doses of even greater harmful.
For this meeting, word no tobacco day.
Harmful substances like drugs to retain the energy that they have lost because of smoking. It is even quite impressive to find that within a short amount of time after quitting smoking, a person can see the wonderful effects of smoking. and so a person needs to be introduced and it needs to become widespread that the benefits and the wonderful effects of stopping smoking for even a short amount of time, that we can see a wonderful result. And we can even show that a lot of people have overcome smoking and have become even better than what they could normally do when they were not even introduced to smoking. Smoking is really bad and a person needs to understand it. Teenagers are pretty vulnerable as they're in an age of growing, and if they do not stop it, they are pretty likely to get harmed. Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's okay. Thank you so much for that. Teenage for Smoking by Akil Fahim. It was really good. Now we come to the medical tobacco use, and that is going to be presented by Freesia Habib. Freesia Habib, yes.
When you take a puff of your precious cigarette, take a moment to think how your health affects the lives of your wife and children. If you don't, it's high time that you start thinking so. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Freesia Habib and welcome to World Anti-Tobacco Day with the theme, Commit to Quit. Thanks to COVID-19 pandemic, which has caused millions of tobacco users around the world to say no to smoking. As WHO researchers suggest that smoking can increase your risk of getting severe diseases and even death due to COVID-19. Tobacco epidemic causes around 8 million deaths every year. More than 7 million deaths due to direct smoking and around 1.2 million deaths due to secondhand smoke. Life thrills, of course, I agree, but smoking kills. Let's see how. Starting with our respiratory system, from simple bronchitis to lung cancer. Trust me, smoking is the leading cause of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, cardiovascular diseases. Smoking causes narrowing of arteries, which can cause an increase in blood pressure and heart rate, eventually leading to heart attack, stroke, and so on. Vascular complications. Smoking causes narrowing of blood vessels, which can reduce blood circulation to extremities, which can also cause gangrene of the affected part. Unfortunately, amputation is the only available choice. Stroke. Smokers have 3 to 4 times higher chances of developing stroke. How? Smoking causes narrowing of blood vessels by plate formation and also reduces blood oxygen levels. Both of these can cause a rise in your blood pressure, which is a definite risk factor for stroke. Diabetes. Smokers have 30 to 40% higher chance of developing type 2 diabetes with associated complications like kidney and heart disease, blindness, peripheral vascular disease, and even nerve damage. Visual complications. Smoking can cause central scotoma and even permanent visual loss due to toxic amblyopia. Researchers strongly suggest that men smokers can develop sexual dysfunction, whereas women smokers are prone to infertility and ectopic pregnancy. Well, now let me invite your attention to a fancy term, green tobacco sickness. But it's no more fun. Workers harvesting tobacco, they can absorb nicotine through the skin, which can cause symptoms like nausea, vomiting, dizziness, weakness, and in extreme cases, even hospitalization. Cancer is no joke. All of us are aware. So it's high time that you quit smoking. Smoking can cause around 14 different types of cancer, starting from your mouth, throat, larynx, esophagus, lungs, stomach, kidney, urinary bladder, and even blood, causing acute myeloid leukemia. Have you come across a teenager who gets angry for trivial reasons? Has disturbed sleep, is always lethargic, has intermittent headache? Well, you named it right. He is a teenage smoker. On the other hand, smoking during pregnancy can cause abortion, premature labor, low birth weight, birth defects, high risk of developing sudden infantile death syndrome, infantile colic, and so on. Now, what happens to your body once you quit smoking? Trust me, within 20 minutes, your hands and feet get warmer because your heart rate and blood pressure goes down. Within 24 hours, your chances of developing heart attack reduces. Within 8 hours, your blood carbon monoxide level goes down, whereas your blood oxygen level rises. And within 1 year, your chances of developing severe heart disease cuts by half. World Health Organization, in its commitment to fight global tobacco epidemic, has implemented 6 empower measures. M. Monitor tobacco use and prevention policies. P. Protect people from tobacco use. O. Offer help to quit tobacco. W. Warn against the dangers of tobacco use. E. Enforce ban on tobacco promotion and advertising. R. Raise taxes on tobacco. Last but not the least, if you are looking out for motivation to quit tobacco, just look at the innocent faces of your kids and think whether they deserve to lose a parent. Let's urge our brothers, sisters, uncles and aunts to quit tobacco for the sake of their precious lives and the lives of their loved ones. Ladies and gentlemen, let's join our hands so that we smoke away our worries, never our lungs. Have an awareful Anti-Tobacco Day 2021.
Okay, Frisia, thank you for your elaborate and stunning speech. Now we come to Dr. Thambi, and he is to present cancer related to tobacco use. Before we begin the presentation, I would request all of you to please switch on your videos, because we will be taking a photograph of it and we would require the presentees to have their videos on. Please, you're requested to switch on your videos. Cancer related to tobacco use by Dr. Thambi Velapan. Isn't it? Yes, I go about with the next presentation.
Respected Dr. Chandra Mohan, Dr. Bharadan, Dr. Abdul Aziz, and dignitaries, friends of RISA, Subair Kunji Foundation. We are moving on with the slogan Commit to Quit Tobacco. As you all know, tobacco is major public health threat that kills up to half of its users and kills more than 8 million people direct and 1.2 million people indirectly. Tobacco smoking is the leading cause of death. Over 80% of smokers, that is around 1.3 billion people, live in low or middle income group countries. Tobacco smoking is the leading cause of death, as I told you, and impoverishment among these people. Smoking can cause many types of cancers, around major 14 types, like lung cancer, cancer of the larynx, mouth cancer, head and neck cancers, esophagus cancer, cancer of stomach and liver cancer, kidney cancer, pancreatic cancer, bladder cancer, colorectal cancer, cancer of cervix and cancer of ovary, and leukemia like acute myeloid leukemia, and that is blood cancer. Like that, so many type of cancers can occur due to this smoking. That is because of the chemicals that are there, deadly chemicals of the cigarette or the tobacco. Most important preventable deadly consequence of smoking is lung cancer. Compared to non-smokers, smoking undoubtedly causing lung cancer. And cancer causing chemicals in tobacco leads to cancer, and it is 40 times more than non-smokers, and the risk is more in smokers, affects millions of female and male smokers, accounts to 18%. And cigarette smoking is most important cause for cancer, up to 90%. The risk is more in heavy smokers, especially depending on the amount of tar that goes inside the lungs. And the risk falls after stopping smoking. 1 out of 2 of smokers die of smoking related problems and health problems, and half of them die in the middle age. Lung cancer is the commonest cancer due to smoking, arise from the bronchial epithelium or mucous glands, mainly induced by many cancer causing chemicals of tobacco. Common symptoms of lung cancer are cough, hemoptysis, otherwise spitting of blood, breathing difficulty, chest pain, change in the pattern of smoker's cough may be an early sign, and digital clubbing, otherwise fingernail change, is one of the feature or important feature of lung cancer. Even though many modalities of treatments are available, like chemotherapy, surgery, radiotherapy, and there are newer modalities are available, but it causes big financial problem burden for the family, may leads to death, causing great loss for the family and the society. More people die of smoking related problems only. And passive smoking leads up to 5% of lung cancer death. Passive smoking. These are the innocent people suffer out of when other people are smoking. Many countries banned smoking in public places. Smoking prevalence and associated diseases are slowly declining. So, the take-home message is that smoking is the leading cause of preventable death, and empowerment. Quitting smoking reduces all this risk, and the WHO is closely monitoring and watching smoking related to problems. WHO suggests 6 empowerments, and Salah Aslam will elaborate on that. Let life be long, beautiful, and healthy. Please quit smoking. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. We have been hearing of all the hazards of smoking, or what exactly smoking it, or what tobacco is exactly. But what leads to smoking, you need to go into the psychological factor of it. And who else can do justice to and Dr. Naseem Akhtar Qureshi. Dr. Sab, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Oh, the mic is over to you.
Thank you very much, all the members of RISA group, inviting me to say few words, not much, because already everything has been covered up by eminent speakers. I would like to point out few things. World No Tobacco Day, every year celebrated on 31 May, is a very good reminder of people, those who are smokers, to quit smoking. Number 2, in the era of COVID-19 pandemic, smokers, especially chronic smokers having chronic pulmonary diseases, they are at potentially greater risk of contracting COVID-19. And the death rate among this particular population is higher than any disease. Number 3 already is covered, but tobacco leading cause of cancers across the world. WHO and Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have projected again and again, and most currently, that about 6 million to 8 million deaths are attributed to smoking worldwide. Number 4, tobacco use or abuse is most common in the world. It is the most commonly abused substance. And at the same time, it is very highly addictive. Once addiction is there, it's very difficult to quit smoking. 6, nicotine is a very addictive substance found in tobacco. And once nicotine circulates in the blood, it goes to the brain and stimulates dopamine neurotransmitters, which is found in brain as well as gut system. And this dopamine neurotransmitter, let me tell you, the discoverer or the inventor of dopamine was awarded Nobel Peace Prize. However, this dopamine substance or neurotransmitter, we know very well and extensively, we have read about dopamine, the role of various psychiatric disorders, including schizophrenia. And it causes initially a pleasant feeling. Therefore, who are smoking, nicotine drives this dopamine and gives a sense of pleasure. That doctor, the dean of medical college, has already talked about, Dr. Chandra. And at the same time, this nicotine also drives adrenaline, and it acts on different parts of the body and give rise to different symptoms. And point number 7, the nicotine is very well known to cause psychological as well as physical addiction or dependence, and is causes craving if the smoker is late smoking 1 cigarette or chewing tobacco products, and different types of cigarettes already talked about. Search on where is the cigarettes, craving development. And when he stops for 2 days smoking, they develop a lot of withdrawal symptoms in terms of anxiety, irritability, heart rate increases, and other type of symptoms. I would like to say the relationship between actually the addiction, nicotine addiction is one of the psychiatric disorders, by the way. And it is well classified in international classification of these ICD-10 and DSM classification 5, and different types of addictions. Here I want to emphasize, if you have some idea about stepping stone hypothesis, the addiction starts with smoking by them. And then it goes to cannabis, and then alcohol, then opium, and then cocaine, and then hallucinogens. So if the preventive steps taken very early, these catastrophes related to addiction of smoking can be prevented. And somebody talked about that about 68 million deaths can be prevented or preventable. I am always using one word, that chronic smoking is a kind of chronic suicidal behavior. At the end of the life, they die. The main reason is because of smoking. Now, something about, and let me tell you something, because the psychology or psychiatric aspect, smoking can be found in all types of psychiatric disorders, including anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, bipolar disorder, personality disorders, borderline personality disorders, and schizophrenia and other conditions. And by the way, smoking is very common occurrence among psychiatric patients. And the most common disorder people have, they smoking very heavily, and those are suffering from chronic schizophrenia, a psychotic disorder. Now coming to Dr. Chandra Mohan has already talked about modeling and peer pressure and stresses of life and vulnerable age of teenagers or young adolescents. If parents are smoking, mostly children will smoke. Once they are going out as a social developmental stage in schools and colleges, peer pressure of the study, they tend to, oh, guy, I'm smoking, I have very good attention and I'm just temporarily happy. Come and smoke. It is a contagious type of disease, smoking. Please remember. Now, I will not take much time. And in a survey, about 70 to 80% of people who smoke, they intend to quit, but they cannot. So one of the students talked about motivation. If there is a will, there is a way. If you are motivated very strongly from inner side of your spirituality, then you can stop smoking. Smoking is legal, by the way. So it depends on you and me, young generation, to stop. And knowing, Dr. Chandra emphasized this, that knowing that smoking is harmful to the entire system of your body, from top brain to the feet. So why we smoke? That's a very curious question, because social media, celebrities, rich people, impoverished people, all are smoking. Please don't include in those categories. Keep away from them. And lastly, but not the least, let me tell you that smoking is first-hand smoking. I'm a smoker, I'm first-hand smoker. The smoke is spread around and the people are inhaling and exhaling. They are second-hand smoker. And there is a third-hand smokers also. If I want to rent a house, and in that house, previously a family, all the family members were smoking, and the smoke is tagged on the wall, attached to the wall, and it's slowly releasing the smoke of nicotine. This is called third-hand smoking. Quickly, let me tell you, there are preventive ways: primary prevention, secondary prevention, and tertiary prevention, or universal prevention, targeted and indicated groups. But nicotine replacement therapy, it gives the smoker slow and very small amount of nicotine, giving a possibility to decrease their number of cigarettes. And with period of time, they might quit smoking. Nicotine gum chewing, the same mechanism. spray an inhaler of nicotine, same is mechanism. Then we have some medication. In psychiatry, we have very particular antidepressant called bupropion or valbertine. And this substance and this antidepressant especially decreases the desire to smoke. It decreases the craving to smoke. It's very good. It is given in 100 to 300 milligram of dosage. The second most commonly used medication is varenicline, Chantix. It's given is 0.5 milligram one day, first day, and then it is increased by 2 tablets after 3 days and so on to avoid its side effect. It is also very effective. And then medication, if combined with traditional therapies or non-pharmacological therapies, what we call integrated approaches, we have something like sleep therapy or hypnotherapy, cognitive behavior therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and exercise is very important. Exercise, daily exercise, say about 1 hour, depending on the age, up to 9,000 steps are very useful. And exercise is very well known to create a sense of pleasure in the brain. And you can stop smoking if you do daily exercise, half an hour to 1 hour. The heart says, if you give me 1 hour, I will give you 10 years more. No heart disease associated with exercise, and you were smoking. If you stop, 10 years life expectancy will increase. And lastly, and most importantly, my humble request to all of you, especially young generation, adolescents, although they are passing through a stressful or vulnerable phase of life, please do not listen to your peers. Please do not follow the model of your parents. Please do not follow the model of your teachers. Please keep away from smoking. Smoking is a chronic suicidal behavior. Keep away. What your parents are doing, which is bad for their health, you don't accept this. You don't adopt it. That's my message. And I am really very thankful to Dr. Chandra Mohan, who really presented like a teacher for all of us. And he reminded me for my teachers about 35 years before. And he's a very excellent orator. And we thank all the guys who participated in Abdulaziz, Thami, and other students, and Dr. Abdulaziz for his continuous efforts for organizing such webinars. Thank you very much, all of you. Keep away from smoking if you want to live a healthy, quality life for your children and for your parents. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Nair, Dr. Abdulaziz, and other participants.
Padmini Madam, you are in mute. Please.
I'm sorry.
Please unmute. Yeah.
Hello?
Okay.
Thank
Pardon?
you for those encouraging words. I mean, I was on mute and I was trying to express my gratitude. Thank you so much, Dr. Naseem, for your encouraging words. It was indeed a very powerful presentation. And now we come to the next presentation, that is WHO's response. 6 empowering measures to quit tobacco. Mr. Salah Aslam will be presenting this. He was one amongst the winners of the last year's elocution competition.
Warm greetings to all present here. Today, Aisal Aslam is here to take a seminar on 6 Empower measures to quit smoking. It is in 2007, WHO introduced a practical, cost-effective way called Empower. Empower is a policy package intended to assist in the country-level implementation of effective interventions to reduce the demand for tobacco. The 6 Empower measures are as follows, with M standing for monitoring the tobacco use and its policies. This strategy can be used to guide tobacco prevention and control the policies. One such policy is limiting the access to cigarettes, which is an important way to curb the tobacco epidemic because it prevents the initiation among the youth. P stands for protecting people from tobacco use. The medical consequences of tobacco use, including the second-hand exposure, make tobacco control and smoking prevention crucial parts of this strategy. More than 4,000 chemicals have been identified in tobacco smoke. You cannot simply kill yourself and others. All the people have a right to breathe clean air. Even a brief exposure can cause severe damage. Only by a total ban on smoking in public places you can protect from the harms of second-hand smoke and thereby quit smoking. Thirdly, O stands for offering help to quit tobacco use. More than 1 billion smokers worldwide who are addicted to tobacco are victims of tobacco epidemic. When informed about the risk or the consequences that they have to face, most of them want to quit. But a very few get help and support to overcome their dependence. I believe it is the responsibility of each and every individual or each and every citizen to act like a helping hand to rescue the people who are ready to overcome. Healthcare have primary responsibility, I believe, and all the healthcare workers should become advocates for tobacco control. Next, W is for warning about dangers of tobacco. A very few users understand the full extent on their health risk. Health warnings on tobacco packaging reach all the smokers and cost the government nothing. As laid out in Article 11 of WHO FCTC, the warning should appear both on front and back of the packaging. It should be large and clear and describe the specific illness caused by tobacco. I feel pictures of disease have a greater impact than words alone. Thinking innovatively and critically alongside with technology, I believe one can hand over only the tobacco packing once he reads the warnings that is written on it. Moving on with E, standing for enforcing the bans on tobacco advertising, promotion, and sponsorship. A comprehensive ban on all the advertising and promotion reduces the tobacco consumption by about 7%. To be effective, the bans must be applied on all the types of advertisement, promotion, and sponsorship, directly and indirectly. The government should act to ban tobacco through well drafted and well enforced laws. People's right to live free from harm and addiction overrides the financial interests of tobacco industry. Lastly, R stands for raising the taxes on tobacco. Significant increase in taxation and pricing of tobacco is the most cost-effective measure to cut down the tobacco use. For example, by increasing the prices, taxation protects the poor from exposure to a product that kills and causes disease to them. Taxation is in fact the most effective means to motivate the current tobacco users to quit. This is especially for lower income population and tobacco users in low and middle income countries where 75% of smokers live. Uruguay's example where they have implemented all the 6 Empower measures and has seen a rapid decline in cigarette smoking. It is time for other countries to join them, to follow them and see a rapid decline in cigarette smoking. Today is meant for World No Tobacco Day. But let's make every day World No Tobacco Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. It was indeed very helpful to all of us. And now we come almost to the end of today's session, wherein we have our very own doctor, Dr. Abdul Aziz. His name will be written in golden letters. How he has helped relentlessly day and night, working towards the betterment of the people in and around him. Whether he is in his hospital or whether he is with his phone, he is always at your service. Dr. Abdul Aziz, over to you.
Good evening, everybody. My topic for Good evening, everybody. My topic for today's No Tobacco Day is the relation between tobacco use and COVID-19. COVID-19 is still a major public health problem in most of the countries, including India. The outbreak started in 2019, December, from the city of Wuhan, China. Soon, it spread to most of the world, including India. Now we are suffering the second wave with a very huge number of COVID-19 cases. We have a lot of morbidities and mortalities. Even our small state of Kerala, we have many cases and fatalities. One of the main reasons for high mortality in COVID-19 is tobacco-related issues. As we all know, tobacco is a major risk factor for the lung cancer and many chronic lung diseases as well as cardiovascular disorders. There are a lot of medical issues related to tobacco smoke that has been discussed by earlier speakers. Let us concentrate on the use of tobacco and the COVID. Tobacco use is one of the main reasons for the worst clinical presentation, hospital stay, and intensive care unit admissions and all. Current and past smokers show worse clinical presentation with respect to never smokers. Whether it is cigarettes, water pipes, BDs, cigars, heated tobacco products, e-cigarettes, all these products are harmful to health and so make the individual more prone for COVID infection and COVID related morbidities. Let's see how a smoker gets COVID infection through tobacco use. Tobacco products like cigarettes, BDs, etc. can be contaminated by COVID virus if it is handled unhygienically. You know, the act of smoking involves contact of fingers, possibly contaminated, with the lips, which increases the possibility of transmission of viruses from hand to mouth. Water pipe users are more prone to contract COVID-19 because a single mouthpiece and hose are often shared between different users. Water pipe apparatus, it has a chamber, a nose. It provides a suitable environment for the survival of microorganisms like COVID virus. The main ingredient of water pipe, the tobacco, has both acute and long-term harmful effects on the respiratory and cardiovascular system, as we know. Tobacco products increase the risk of cardiovascular and respiratory illnesses, causing more trouble if they get COVID infection. Suppose a person is having chronic diseases, they're more prone for COVID infection and also for severe or fatal illness. Sometimes it can cause even death of the individual. So let us see why the smoking is dangerous during this COVID pandemic. It's an important issue. COVID-19 primarily affects the respiratory system, often causing mild to severe respiratory damage. We all know it's around 80 to 90% of COVID patients survive or escape their illness without any sequelae. Only 10 to 15% get some moderate to severe infection and less than 5% go for a severe infection, and the mortality is less than 1% in normal cases. What will happen in smokers is, smokers' lung is not like our normal lung. Usually the lung has a elastic recoil tendency. The elasticity of the lung will be lost. In short, the architecture of the lung will be seriously affected in COVID infection and also in chronic illnesses like bronchitis, COPD, etc. If a patient already has a COPD, a chronic bronchitis, or a severe allergic lung disease or dust lung disease, the person's lung is already in trouble, and once they get COVID infection, the oxygen exchange to the blood and the carbon dioxide exchange to the atmosphere will be seriously affected, leading to severe impairment in oxygen supply to the blood, and that will adversely affect the vital organs like brain and other tissues, and leading on to severe organ damage and even death. We all know now we need to check the oxygen level using pulse oximeter in many cases. If the saturation is below 92, the patient is in warning sign to get admitted in the hospital. Regarding the cardiovascular illnesses, smokers have high risk of getting heart attack and even sudden death. Another aspect is the virus that causes COVID-19 is from the same family as MERS-CoV and SARS coronavirus 1, both of which have been associated with cardiovascular damage. Smoking increases the chance of developing acute respiratory distress syndrome or ARDS, a key complication for severe cases of COVID-19. They require more intensive care unit, mechanical ventilation, and severe health consequences. Let's see another aspect. There is statistical evidence that crude fatality rate for COVID-19 patients is much higher among those with cardiovascular disease, hypertension, diabetes, chronic respiratory diseases, and cancer than those with no pre-existing chronic medical conditions. Let's see why WHO recommending to quit smoking during this COVID. The lung function improves as soon as you stop smoking. Within 20 minutes, the elevated heart rate and the blood pressure start coming down. Within 12 hours, the carbon monoxide level in the blood stream drop to normal. Within 2 to 12 weeks, the circulation improves and the lung function become better. And in 1 to 9 months' time, the coughing and shortness of breath will definitely improve. So, quitting will help to protect your lung. Not only that, it will protect your loved ones, especially the children, from exposure to secondhand smoke. So, quit smoking, be healthy, and avoid the dangerous consequences of COVID-19. Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Abdulaziz. A small quote for him. Your job is not to judge. Your job is not to figure out if someone deserves something. Your job is to lift the fallen, to restore the broken, and to heal the hurting. This has been his motto and his goal. Thank you, Doctor, for your wonderful presentation. Now, as we come to the end of today's ceremony, we would very much like to end it with a formal vote of thanks. And who else can do justice other than Mr. Karnakaran, who has been the founder member of this RISA. And he believes in relentlessly working towards the success of this organization. So, Mr. Karnakaran, over to you for the formal vote of thanks. Before I start, I would request everybody to keep your videos open, because RISA members at least, we will have a session after that. Okay.
Dear President, Dr. Abdulaziz, RISA Program Committee members, respected Chief Guest, Dr. P. Chandramohan sir, speakers of the day, and all those who are part of the webinar, Commit to Quit Tobacco. Today you all heard from eminent speakers on various aspects of harmful effects of tobacco. I'm sure we have a lot of takeaways from each of the presentations delivered by the Chief Guest and all other speakers. Now let me come to my role of thanksgiving. On behalf of Suvargunji Foundation and RISA, I would like to convey our sincere thanks and appreciation to everyone for their participation, support, and valuable thoughts to make this webinar event a successful one. Let us continue our efforts against all addictions and join hands together from time to time to support future campaigns as well. Thank you once again and good evening.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for everything. Dr. Abdul Aziz?
Yes, madam.
I think
We are here. Okay.
The RISA members and all student participants, you are requested to stay back. The RISA members and all the student participants are requested to stay back. I would request all of you to please open your windows.
I hope all the RISA members and presenters stay back in the chat.
Please open windows. I would request Jahir, Bashir, Aslam, Zain, Abdul Aziz, Farzana. All of you, please open your windows.